Hi everybody. The topic today is passing on responsibility. When parents or spouses make you do something that you really don't want to do. Taking on responsibilities that other people give us can be challenging when we are convinced to promise to care for a parent when one parent passes away, or to care for a disabled sibling when mom or dad pass away. And we realize these situations become way more than we can handle from a behavioral, a hands-on care, a financial perspective, emotional perspective, physical perspective. So the question that caregivers are asking is, how do I come to a place where I can feel comfortable making my life a priority and feel okay going against this promise or this responsibility that I made to somebody who passed away? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. On there, free courses, free information, articles, my blog, a podcast. You can join my caregiver support group online. Help for caregivers, aging adults, family members, in all of these very difficult family care situations. So making a choice to go against a promise or to say, I know I accepted this responsibility, but I can't do it anymore, can be really difficult for anybody at any age. But a lot of times, if we find ourselves in these situations, it could be because our parents placed us as children in these adult roles very early in life. And there's a term for this. It's called parentified children. So it's children who at a very young age take responsibility for caring for their siblings, or who take on really what are seen as adult responsibilities at an early age, 5, 10, 15 years of age. And so because these children were trained to do these adult responsibilities and say yes to everything that came along their way, when you become older and you're still in a relationship with your parents who are saying, oh, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you take care of your sibling? Can you take care of mom or dad if they die? You're already trained to say yes. But that places you in a very difficult situation if you are in a place where you want to focus on you and going to school and getting married and having children and a career and all of this. So the beauty of responsibility, accepting responsibility, making a promise or not, is really realizing that you do have a choice. Now again, for a lot of us, this dates back to our upbringing and how our parents taught us and modeled behavior. Some people feel like responsibility for self is up to the individual, not my problem, they need to do it. Others believe that families take care of families. So with either of those beliefs at opposite ends of the spectrum, there are situations where caregiving or caretaking really takes a toll on the life of the individual from a health, physical health, mental health, life perspective. So let's look at some extreme caregiving examples, which include caring for loved ones with extreme disabilities. They can't care for themselves at all. They can't speak, they can't feed themselves, they can't move around. People who really need total assistance. And then there are situations that happen with age, right? Individuals who are diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia, or they're in a car accident and they have a brain injury, or maybe a mental health diagnosis that gets worse, substance abuse disorders. We age and we have a lot of health problems. And so that means that we require a lot of physical care, hands-on care from somebody else, and time from somebody else. These are some of the most challenging care situations that can happen. And they happen either because of birth or because of life circumstances. And it's hard to know what's going to happen in 3 months or 6 months or what the situation is going to be like in a year or two. So when you initially accept that responsibility, it may not be very much. Or when you made that promise, you thought, oh, no big deal, I can take care of it. But then everything changes and it gets worse and it's more work. And so then you realize that, wow, I can't do this anymore. This is extreme. This is hard. But yet you remember back here, well, I made that promise to my parent. I accepted that responsibility. So how do you become okay with making a different choice? To realizing that the situation has changed so much that that responsibility you thought you took on or you agreed to take in, or the promise that you made, well, it's totally a different world today. It's totally a different situation. So again, you have to look at, did that promise come from not knowing what you were agreeing to? Did it come from your parent pushing you to continually say yes and yes and yes and yes from the time that you were a young child to the time that you were an adult? Did it place a lot of unrealistic expectations on you? So if you're in this situation, you're probably watching your life derail, fall apart, go off track. Your physical and your mental health aren't good. Maybe you're having trouble maintaining relationships with other people. Your husband, your wife, continuing to work, continuing to live independently. It's like a train wreck. You're just watching your life go off course. So questions that you want to ask yourself to help you feel okay with doing something differently. Should one person's needs negatively affect your life, your marriage, your children, your career? Now, there's no right or wrong answer with this. Some of you are going to say, oh, absolutely it should. I should sacrifice everything to care for this person. Other people are going to be like, no, it shouldn't. I want my own life. And that's okay too. But again, realize that many of these decisions, these responsibilities, these promises stem from relationships that we have with other people. And so we also have to look at our lives and what we call our emotional baggage, right? Trauma or regrets from situations that happened, and maybe today we wish we didn't do that or say that. Well, this is all human nature, right? We wish we didn't agree to that. Oh, if I would have only done this, or my life would be different if I would have made this. Well, we can't go back and change things. We can only change today and change the future. So the beauty of this is as we gain experience and knowledge and maturity, we gain wisdom to approach situations differently. And if we are open-minded, we can talk to other people, get their perspectives on situations, agree or disagree, but at least we're getting different opinions and different ways of looking at things, because if we only base our decisions on our own experience, that's very limited. And so we have this very narrow insight on, well, this is the only way that it can be done. Well, there's probably 100 other ways that it could be done, but we have to be okay with that. So going back to when we accepted this promise or made this responsibility, it was impossible to predict what our life would become like, the changes that would happen in our life. And this is why it's really okay if you have to make a change. Every life is so different. And this is why people judge other people and say, well, yes, you should take care of your parents or you should take care of your spouse. Well, they have no idea what your life is like, right? Some people grow up in poverty. Other people grow up in very wealthy families. Education, different types of employment affect your life. All of these individual experiences shape the decisions that you make. And your ability to realize or recognize that it's okay to do this, or maybe you want to continue on with these promises or these responsibilities. So if you're a caregiver who feels stuck, the question you really have to ask yourself is, are you willing to look at other options? If not, then you stay the course, you stay your path with the responsibility, with the promise. If you are willing to look at things a different way, then seek advice, talk to other people, find out what your options are. Realize that now you can start looking at other ways to make sure that this person that you're caring for, that you promised, that you accepted responsibility for, can receive the care that they need, and you can go on with your life. It's kind of like you've come to a starting point. Figure out where you go next. Look at all these opportunities, everything that the world opens up to you. So you just have to consider how you can continue to be okay not being that primary caregiver. How will you work through your feelings about choosing you, about making different choices, and be okay with that? Now, there's no simple answers, but the key is that You either will make the decision to do this or you won't. And then the key to that progress is asking questions, doing research, thinking about how different your life could be. And then at that point, you can make different choices. I'm Pamela D. Wilson. My website is pameladwilson.com. Please share this video with other people that you know who might have feel like they have to follow through with promises or responsibilities, even though the situation in their life has changed so significantly. It's okay to reevaluate. It's okay to stay the course. It's okay to make different decisions. Thanks for being here. I will see you all again in another video.